Hi everyone and welcome to Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition, Deathinitive difficulty walkthrough. This is still part 18, Phariseer's Tomb part 2. So we're gonna have a boss fight at the end, who is Phariseer, whatever. And we're going to have a new gameplay mechanic when we defeat that guy. And yes, the game is still giving us mechanics, which means that we are not even halfway through. I would say after this tomb we are halfway over with the game, but I still think we are two quarters. Well, 2 quarters will we have. I mean, we are not even half. That's what I'm trying to say. It's really hot in here, like really hot once again, and I'm fearing for power cuts as always. So I guess I'll just record and we'll see what happens. So these are new enemies. These are not skeletons, as I mentioned in a video. These are some kind of mummies, something like that, or monsters. We're going to have new enemies. We're going to have a new enemy here. I think we're gonna have only one, but later in the game we're gonna have more than one at the same time. And they are very hard because there are enemies that use a huge shield, and we have to I have the strategy to defeat them, but when you have two on the same time is a problem. So the difficulty is definitely going up, and I'm not really going up in damage, I guess. So not really that far away though, and I don't mind the difficulty, the difference in difficulty. So these are the ladies, or however they call the sirens. Maybe they're not called really sirens because that's the name of an enemy that is kind of like this in God of War, but I don't remember the name of this enemy. So, and after this we're gonna have the new enemy, the shielded huge fucking monster or demon or whatever. I guess they're death people because we are in the land of the dead. Well, we're not actually in the land of the dead, but we are right before the land of the dead. So yeah, we're gonna visit the Shadow Realm after a couple of videos. We're gonna be killing Echidna. We're gonna be visiting even the... Well, I don't want to spoil what we're going to be doing, because maybe you kinda started playing this game and you don't know what happens in the story or where you go next. I don't want to start saying all the lands or places that you're going to visit, but it's definitely interesting where we're gonna go after all of this. So having been through the frustration of losing my entire save file of Bloodborne, I'm almost at the point of start begin to this is a new enemy, by the way, to begin to record the Dark Souls permadeath run and Dark Souls 2 permadeath run. Now of course I'm going to record them in order, and I want to talk a little more about them because I just mentioned permadeath, right, like a limitation, and you might think for yourself, I didn't think this when I was explaining it. I just thought about it afterwards, so I want to explain it here. Like, it's okay if you know me, you know, it's okay if you are an old subscriber of mine and you kind of know that I will never fake a difficulty, or I will fake a challenge, or I will fake anything. The thing that I say is the difficulty that it is. The limitation that I say that it's going to have, it is the limitation that it's going to have. But if you're a new subscriber, or someone who just happens to start watching my videos and doesn't subscribe, which is fairly common, and you might not really, you know, you have that ambivalence of saying, well, how can I be sure that it's a permadeath? How can I be sure that you can actually you're actually going to end the walkthrough when you die? Not really a walkthrough, a playthrough when you die. And you're right. There are not many ways for you to know that beyond my word, which I always you will always have. this channel will always have my word that everything that I do is without beyond cheats and fucking tricks or hacks or glitches or whatever the fuck you want to name them. And but beyond my word, which I myself consider it very important, and I will never break. There is not much fact that I can show you. Now, there is one fact that I can show you. Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 have a system at the bottom right that tells you how many souls you have in store, and especially Dark Souls 2 have a system that is called that basically ruined the multiplayer, that is called the soul memory system, and that is another system as well. Now for Dark Souls 1 you can have the soul system, but since I am going to be upgrading the character, I guess there are always going to be kind of like a leftover souls at the counter, and that's kind of like the most solid thing that I can tell you for if you are ambivalent of if it is a real permadeath or not. Trust me, it is. But if you want me to kind of give you a solid fact to where you should watch, you know, if I actually survive long, which I don't know, is the soul counter. The soul counter will always have some kind of souls in it. It will never be at 0, because if it ever is at 0, it means that I died. Unless at the beginning of the game, of course. But after the beginning of the game, it will never be at 0. It will always have some souls in it. So going from video to video, from part to part, or from chapter to chapter, however I'm going to call them, I don't know, you will always see the soul count, and the soul count should remain the same going from a video to another video. So that's a solid kind of fact that you can follow with a permadeath run. Now Dark Souls 2 is even better at this, because it has the soul memory, and for once the soul memory works for my advantage, instead of being a system of fucking horrible fucking shit. So the soul system, you don't only have the soul counter that you will also have to check out this. Jesus, I'm stuttering like a fucking animal. And you will also have the soul memory, and the soul memory stores all the souls that you have gathered through the walkthrough in a number, and that number goes up, but it's always the same number going from video to video. So at the beginning and the end of the videos, I will always show you the soul memory counter, which is in the inventory. So you will always see the normal soul counter and the soul memory counter, and I cannot hack that. I cannot change that. I cannot modify that. I cannot really use souls and like thinking that I'm going to reach the same number, like, you know, potentially reach the same number so I can fake the fact that I died. I cannot do that. So there you have a really solid fact of amount of souls. Of course you could say that I could use a hack tool, like a program, a cheat program, and give me the exact number of souls that I had before, and then I actually did hack it. But I give you my word, as I mentioned before, if you know me, I will never do any of those things, any hack, any cheat. The runs will be real. I'm experienced in Dark Souls, so I kinda have a little faith with myself and what I'm going to do. I have a little hope, let's just call it, and that I can get through that. I can get through with most of the game, but I have some serious preoccupations, of course. In Dark Souls 1, if you know the name, you might know the preoccupations. it might be the same in your mind. Ornstein and Small, definitely. Four Kings, definitely. Those are all playthrough stopper or ender. But even early on, Capra Demon is a problem. It can be a serious fucking problem because of the fucking dogs. Yeah, and beyond that, I don't know. Anything can be a problem, guys, because the thing in Dark Souls is that death can come in various ways. Like when Dark Souls came out on PC, it was literally named Prepare to Die. So how I'm going to call this? Prepare to live. Like I have to live. I have to get through this. So I'm going to think my strategies and tactics and upgrade paths really seriously. And in Dark Souls 2, I don't know. Like Dark Souls 2 have like 30 something boss fights. 30 plus boss fights, guys, that I have to survive. So in reality, I fear Dark Souls 2 much more than Dark Souls 1, and more in the fact that I don't really know that much of Scholar of the first scene, and Scholar is much more difficult than the normal Dark Souls. So I don't think we are going to reach even the endings of Scholar, of the kind of late bosses, late encounters. But I'm going to try my best. So the fun in the playthrough is that I'm going to give my best, and you kind of have to watch each video, because I'm not going to announce my death in the video that I upload. You're going to have to watch it to see if I survive or not. So that's kind of the fun of seeing a permadeath, I think. Seeing if that video is the end or actually it's not. Kind of like a series, like a TV series. It's kind of like the vibe that I'm going to try to give it to these playthroughs. And of course it's all in honor of Dark Souls 3, which is going to release in April. And no, I'm not going to do a permadeath run because I don't know the game, but I'm going to do a blind playthrough. A live playthrough, like I did with the DLC of the Old Hunters. And talking about Bloodborne, I also wanted to talk a little about chalices. I know this has anything to do with the game here, and I'm not trying to disrespect Darksiders, because Darksiders is an awesome game and I could talk loads about Darksiders, but the thing is I'm just exploring and returning to what I was, so I can actually I'm not having a boss fight right now. I don't having an encounter with a difficult enemy that I should explain, so we can actually talk about other games and other stuff. So the chalices, you don't know what the chalices really are, and I'm going to explain them since video 1, because they're gonna be live. They're gonna be with one of my already created characters, and the twist about the chalices, because the chalices also have a twist. The twist is the character himself. The character that I'm going to use is underpowered as fucking hell. It's not level 4 because I don't want to just frustrate me and you at each and every turn. But beyond that, it's a funny character, it's a new character that you can create since the DLC. And it's underpowered as fucking hell. And it's really fun to watch, I think, the gameplay. Because the gameplay is not going to include parries. And when you don't include parries, the bosses suddenly take another difficulty step, especially the bosses that you can actually parry. So this is, so hopefully you're gonna like that as well. This is Phariseer, the boss fight. This guy is not really that hard, I would say, but it has minions. And you know what what's my opinion about minions? I don't know about the movie. I haven't watched it. I don't fucking care about Disney movies. That's not even a Disney movie, right? Minions? I think it's a DreamWorks movie. Or Pixar? No, it's DreamWorks. Has to be DreamWorks. Whatever. So this is Phariseer. I guess that's the name. there you have a dodge counter. The guy is going to attack you, and of course he's going to have a sort of armor to his attacks that you cannot stagger. You can stagger him, as you can see, after he does his attacks, but when he's doing it, you cannot stagger him. And eventually, I'm doing decent damage though. I'm doing really decent damage. So eventually, he's gonna summon a lot of skeletons. Here we go, and he even summons the armor skeletons that have hit really fucking hard. So this is not an easy boss fight if you're under leveled. I will say I'm not that under leveled now that I'm seeing it, but you should know that I actually have a good build already, because when you see those flying numbers, and I love that the game has numbers of damage, I will love that God of War will have numbers of damage flying over the enemies in the next iteration that I hopefully we will see in the E3 of this year. Yeah, when you see white numbers, it's the normal base attack of what you're hitting. That means with the strength stat. But when you see a yellow number, it means a critical attack, and you cannot really control the criticals. The criticals are just are archers too. Oh wow. Okay, so the criticals are only controlled by the stats of your weapons, which is like I have, for example, 200% critical damage. That means that when I actually hit a critical, it goes up to 200% the normal damage of my weapon. And when I hit, and the chance of me hitting a critical, I think at this moment is close to 50% or 40. I think 40, because I have a couple of armor parts that have 20% critical chance. So here's the end, and we are going to control him as a new mechanic in the game. And I think for the Crucible I'm going to try to have Health Steal, Wrath Steal as stats in my weapons, Strength of course, and Critical Chance. I'm going to try to bring it closer to 100%. Like every single hit that I do is a critical chance, because you really need it, because the Crucible in Deathinitive difficulty is so fucking hard. Like when you play other games, Crucibles or the Bloody Palace for example, it starts easy and it ends really hard, but with Darksiders it starts in the difficulty that you play. So it starts on Deathinitive and ends on Deathinitive, and there are 100 fucking waves on Deathinitive difficulty. So I have to really intelligently build my character if I ever want to survive that. So that's gonna be interesting too. So a lot of stuff coming. Not a lot of new games, sadly, but I cannot create games for you guys. If I could, I will do so. So we'll see each other in part 19 when we will go see the other Lord, the second Lord. So thank you for watching, and take care.